Happy Friday!
What's up, y'all?
Oh. Today we're going to talk about the 5 most important things in a relationship. According to us, 2 minutes ago, came up with our own list together. The first thing that we both said and agree on is communication. So why is communication important, baby?
Communication is important, obviously, right? And you guys probably hear that all the time, but this is what I want to say, though. What I learned from us is that it's one thing to communicate, but to do it effectively means you have to dig deep and really get to the bottom of things more often than not, a lot of times. For example, if I were to tell her that something she does bother me, what I notice, she'll ask me like why, or like she'll say, okay, so tell me more. Then a lot of times I'll be thinking, or it might even be vice versa, that this bothers me, so don't do it. If I don't know why I'm not doing this and why it bothers you, it's not as important to me. So in terms of communication, when you dig deep, you be like, this bothers me for X, Y, and Z. And so every time it happens, I feel A, B, and C. Then it makes a lot more sense, and it's a lot more helpful from what I can say about how we be doing things in chill.
It's very good. I think that communication is everything, and I think
She sure does.
It's a process. It took me a while. You remember when I used to...
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I would not share why I was upset because I didn't want, like, when you're upset and then you talk about it, you almost get more upset. So he would be like, something's wrong, what's wrong? And I'd be like, I'm fine. And it took me a while, and you actually pulled out on me because you're like, I know something's wrong with you, we're going to talk about it.
I think it was like kind of twofold, because what I used to do was like, all right, look, I'm gonna stop asking. I already asked you 2-3 times, so if you don't want to say it, then we just not gonna talk about it, because I ain't asking no more.
Which made it easier for me because it was like the door was open to talk about it. Not surface level communication, like deep. Like, I need you to tell me what's in your heart. Oh, I just thought of something.
But time out before you say that. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I know y'all be watching. We can see that. However, we want to hear from y'all.
Please.
So we're going to get more into it, but we want to know your top 5 things also in a relationship and what you guys have noticed works for you. Also, we should tell you, we got the email, Dayz of Dorsey. So that's Dayz with a Z of Dorsey at gmail.com. So if you don't want to comment down below, send us something in the email, something you might want us to talk about. So if it ain't something that you want shared publicly, we won't say any names or whatever unless you
could be anonymous. You could be anonymous.
I just want to say that real quick.
So what I was saying was that communication is sharing everything, sharing things that are hard to share. That took Brandon a while. You would have something to share, but you wouldn't share it because you don't want to hurt my feelings. What's roped into communication is like sharing stuff that's hard. And it's hard for me sometimes because when you care so much about someone and you love someone, you don't want to hurt them. So like if you know what you're going to share is going to be hurtful, it's hard to share it, but you have to because it's going to make you stronger and it's going to make you better. Because if you hold on to an issue, like if he does something that hurts me, I know that him knowing that he hurts me is going to hurt him. So sometimes I would be like, I'm just going to let it go. But you can't let stuff go because then it builds, because you're not really letting it go. It's like sitting there, right? Nothing is off the table. You should be able to share everything with your spouse. Everything about how you feel. Everything about everything.
Number 2.
Trust and loyalty.
I think this comes from communication. And you guys know what trust and loyalty is. It's hard to build a relationship without it. I feel like that kind of goes without saying.
Trust and loyalty, it's not just related to cheating, like being unfaithful, but I trust that you have my back. Like, I trust that you're not going to mistreat me.
Yeah, that comes from communication. Because I just thought of an example. Her family likes to play volleyball. So we be playing volleyball. So she's sensitive in general.
I am sensitive.
Yes, very much so. So
you have to say all of that.
In volleyball, she's sensitive about her performance.
I am.
So
I want to do a good job.
Me, I'm an athletic guy. Been like playing sports since I was able to walk. Ironically, I'm not very competitive. So since I'm not very competitive, or it's inward, it's not really outward. But since I'm not very competitive, I joke around a lot. especially during volleyball. So if she messes up, I would probably say something joking about how she messed up. Then she would get all up in here with it. That has happened quite a few times. As far as trust goes in this, she wants to be able to trust me in those situations that I would build her up instead of like tearing her down, or that's how she sees it. I see it as humor. She sees it as tearing her down. That she's sensitive about this, and that I'm not gonna, like, if she messes up, I'm not gonna throw it in her face. I'm gonna just try to help her out of that situation.
I see you.
Or at least make her laugh.
I see you with that example.
You know what I'm saying? Because I be thinking.
It's a good example.
I be up here with it.
Trust and loyalty is something like, I trust you with my heart. I trust you that you're not gonna intentionally hurt me. That to me is trust, because obviously we hurt each other in relationships. We talk about this all the time. If ever I do something to hurt Brandon's feelings, I never meant to. And whenever he does anything to hurt my feelings, we are not those type of people where we're like, oh, what can I do to hurt you? Like, that's just not how we are. And you shouldn't be that way in a relationship. That if someone were to say something about Brandon that is untrue or that's just bogus, that as his wife, I'm gonna be like,
should be like, hey, square up then, fool.
For real, like, that's loyal. Like, you don't just sit there. And I feel this way about anyone in my life that I love. If someone's gonna say something that's like untrue or bogus about someone that I love, loyalty is you being like, yo, like, that's not cool. Don't say that. That's not true. Like, that's like being loyal, like being down for someone. If someone said something about me, what would you say?
So here's the thing. Don't nobody talk about you. Don't nobody have nothing negative to say about you. So
but if somebody did, what would you say?
I don't really know. It depends on
Come on, how would you back me up?
It depends on the situation. I think what she wants me to do is, get your bag. Don't be talking about my wife like that. That's what she wants.
That's not even how you are.
Exactly. But I think that's what she's looking for.
Oh, okay, I figured it out. I don't have the 10. I'm sorry, I'm not bougie like you. Okay.
You worked it once. You know.
Number 3 is love. And in quotation marks, we have selflessness, compromise, and sacrifice are all ropes in love.
Right. So the difference between love and being in love. Being in love, I feel like, is like an infatuation, kind of like you guys can think of the honeymoon stage or like puppy love, kind of. I think a lot of times you're not necessarily in control of yourself as much or your emotions as much. In terms of love, that's something that keeps a relationship going after like those months or those years or whatever. People that's been married for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 20, 170 years. That's because they know how to love each other. So communication is one of those things. Trust and loyalty is another one. So then selflessness is one thing. What's the other two you said? Compromise and sacrifice. I feel like that all goes into how you love somebody, because a lot of times you will have to put them before yourself.
No.
And with that also comes with, we mentioned before in another video, going not 50-50 in a relationship, but 100-100. You can make it work off 50-50, but it's not going to be a completely fruitful relationship.
What does that mean, 100-100?
That means that both of you are putting in maximum effort, basically.
Selflessness, it's like one of the, obviously it's top 5, right? But like one of the most important things in a marriage, because if you're both working hard at being selfless, then you cancel each other out, and then you're just good. If I want to always make sure that Brandon is good and he wants to always make sure that I'm good, I don't have to worry about me. He doesn't have to worry about him, because we got each other. But it's a very big part of growing in your marriage, because when you see it, it's like, oh wow, it's really beautiful and important. And sacrifice is like, I don't really want to do this, but I know he wants to do it, or vice versa.
You right.
And it's like, it's just like he could just not be feeling something, but because I want to do it, he does it. And same thing with me. I have a good example. Football. I think that's a good example, because I'm not crazy about football, right? But because it's something that I know that he loves, it's something that, besides me, he loves probably more than anything. I will spend time watching football with him when I could be doing something else, but I'm sacrificing because I know it's something that he enjoys. Does that make sense? Do you have an example? Examples are fun.
Thumbs up to the Saints fans out there, because she's actually a Saints fan, even though she's from Wisconsin. She'll talk about liking the Packers or whatever, but she don't really care about the Packers.
I'm a hometown girl. I like my teams from my city and my state.
But when
I like the Packers. I like the Bucks.
When I tell you that she likes the Packers by default, I mean she actually loves the Saints though.
I like the Packers because it's my hometown team, but I do like the Saints.
Thumbs up for the Saints fans.
Number 4 is shared values. What does that mean, baby?
hard to make a relationship work if you guys don't have fundamental values that are the same or pretty close to being the same.
And
So
that number one shared value in our relationship that keeps us strong, we've talked about this in other videos, is that we both have the shared value of God being at the center of our relationship. Jesus being at the center of our relationship.
yeah, for me, if she didn't have that, I wouldn't even have pursued a relationship with her in the first place. So
Same.
that's why I'm thinking like shared values is something that should have went probably number one if
There's
this
no
was an
order.
order.
Yeah.
I don't really necessarily think there's much more to
There's a lot
expound
to
upon.
it. There is. Because our relationship grows because of that shared value. I'm working on my relationship with God. You're working on your relationship with God. And if we didn't have the shared value of, let's say, for example, the same God, can you imagine how many issues that could potentially cause in our relationship?
Especially when it comes to kids.
I was just gonna on the same page. One of the main things being kids.
I'll be reading.
Parenting is hard enough, like we both believe that you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't cheat, you shouldn't steal, right? Like these are
Unless what does Hitch say?
If you must steal a kiss or something like that, right?
Or steal a moment or something. If you must lie,
You must lie with the one you love.
Yeah. And if you must steal, cheat. If you must cheat
death.
death.
Yeah. Dang, Hitch was not in our movie. That should have been an honorable mention. Hitch. I love that movie.
I couldn't watch that movie till I was like 20 something. And it came out when I was like 12, 13.
Because it was too cheesy?
Yeah, I just couldn't sit through it. I'm like, this is boring.
I love Eva Mendes, and people have told me that I look like her, so I'm like, she's hot.
I too am an aficionado. Can values change over time?
I don't think so. I think your values and your morals they're concrete. I don't think something that a moral or a value that I have, I would lose that. Like, I can't think of an example. I think you can maybe add on, right?
I think they can change over time. But here's the thing. I don't think it's like whimsical in the sense that this day or this week you feel this way, this day or this week you feel this way. But I think there can be a series of like, or maybe even like one, maybe two events that happens over the course of one's life to change these values.
Maybe. But our number one shared value, like I said, is always going to be Jesus, and trying to live according to the Word of God, because it's a good way to live, I believe, with all my heart. Number 5 is joy. Joy.
Yeah.
Joy.
Well, you gotta have fun together.
Yeah.
You gotta be happy. Happy, I think I see that as an emotion, so I see that as temporary. I think joy is more fulfilling, but then
Fun.
2, more longer lasting.
You gotta have fun in your relationship, man. You can have all those other things, but if you're not having a good time, life is too short. Happy, clap along. He never wants to sing with me. Just have a good time with your life. And I think people know, like, just from watching us, we like to have fun. We like to live life. And I think never lose that spark of fun in your relationship. Like, make each other laugh. Like, Brandon really makes me laugh.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say too that on the outside looking in, it probably doesn't look like this because y'all don't really know me like that. But as far as our relationship goes, she's way more serious than I am.
What?
As far as I think so.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I just be trying to chill. I'm like, shoot,
I
I'm
think
just
that we're
trying to
both
live.
pretty
What you
fun
mean?
people. And I think that we can both be incredibly random, and that makes for a fun time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was our 5.
I'm the random one. Cause here's my example. Me being random. So I don't believe that a thought has to come from something. Does this happen? Or it's like something that we were talking about. I don't believe a thought has to come from that. And like B, I don't believe multiple thoughts or a series of thoughts have to all line up together. I feel like when you think it, if you feel like saying it, go ahead and say it. C feels like what? Where'd that come from? Like who? How'd you? That was out of left field. Aren't most thoughts out of nowhere? Don't they just hit you? Why do you have to be thinking? And or if you have a series of thoughts, why do they have to all flow together?
Are you saying I don't have random thoughts?
I mean, like I said, I think I'm the random one.
I think we're both.
You got them. I live on them.
The point of the moral of the story is have fun together. So those were the 5: communication / honesty, trust / loyalty, love, which we encompassed compromise, sacrifice, and selflessness, joy, and shared value. The other one that we wanted to talk about is what, baby?
Intimacy is the one she was talking about. She wanted to put this with joy.
I did want to put it with joy.
She want to have fun with your boy.
Stop. Because intimacy is incredibly important in a relationship. I wouldn't give it its own category because I think it's encompassed in all of them. But if I had to put it in one, I would put it in joy because we're always having fun when we're being intimate.
And I was saying that I would put it with love because, like, selflessness, it kind of comes from that too, in the sense that you have to meet each other's needs, basically. So, like I mentioned before, you got to put people ahead of you sometimes. So.
Yeah, intimacy is something that is constantly evolving.
Or that person, I should say. I said people. Oh, yeah, people too. But, yeah.
It's constantly evolving, which I think makes it really fun. I'm not gonna get too personal, but what I will say is, don't get boring with intimacy. Don't get stagnant. Surprise your spouse.
Which I think, like I said, random stuff, that's me. The surprise stuff,
that's true.
When it comes to that, that's me.
And also communication within intimacy. So many people think like you can't talk when you're intimate, or like it's weird if you talk. You have to have music on. No, talk. If you talk, it helps you to get better. We both are, but I would say I was very innocent. We have only had sex with each other, which I'm so grateful for. I think it's a beautiful thing. But because of that, I was new to all of it. So like it took me a while before I could open up. I don't know why I just thought of this, but like I think it's hilarious when I hear couples say that they don't fart in front of each other.
Or use the bathroom in front of each other.
Like when I hear people say that, I'm like, oh, I don't want my man to smell my farts. Like, what? Like this is the person who knows you better than anything. You should be able to fart in front. I mean, like, do you, right? But like, I'm sorry, in our relationship, if you have to fart, there's no off limits in your relationship. Be open with each other. Okay, so those were our 5 most important things in a relationship according to us and our experience thus far. Please share what you think we maybe missed, or if something is different on your list, or if you have any questions. We would love to do a vlog just answering questions from the viewers. This has been us.
All right, Dan Brody.